Blood runs between his fingers. Oedipus drives the golden pins deeper into his own eyes, and the screaming never stops, because the screaming is his. A king just minutes ago, husband, father, savior of Thebes. Now every title is a wound, every truth a blade sharper than bronze. What kind of prophecy could drive a man to tear out his own sight? What truth was so unbearable that darkness became mercy? Tonight, we walk that path. The oracle at Delphi spoke clearly for riddles. No mercy. You will kill your father. You will marry your mother. Oedipus ran. He ran from home, from family, from everything he loved, straight into the arms of the fate he was trying to escape. Can a man outrun the gods? Can knowing the future change it? Or does knowing itself become the trap? 3,000 years later, we still wonder. Get comfortable now. Settle in. This story has been told since before the Parthenon was built, whispered in amphitheaters, argued by philosophers, feared by kings. If sleep finds you before the prophecy is fulfilled, that is fine. The gods of dreams are kinder than the God of truth. Let them carry you. Our story begins with a different king, Laius of Thebes, who receives a prophecy of his own. His son will kill him. And Laius believes he can prevent it. Laius orders his own newborn son taken to Mount Cithaeron. The child's ankles are pierced with an iron pin and bound together. Left to die among wolves. The name they gave him means swollen foot. Oedipus. Even his name is a scar from the father who tried to erase him from the world. A shepherd finds the crying child. He cannot bring himself to leave it. Mercy. Or was it fate wearing a shepherd's face? He carries the baby down the mountain. The child reaches Corinth. King Polybus and Queen Merope have no heir. They take this wounded foundling as their own and raise him as a prince. Oedipus grows strong and clever in Corinth's sunlight. He believes Polybus is his father. He believes Merope is his mother. He believes he is safe. Then a drunk at a feast calls him a bastard. Not the real son of the king. The words land like a blade. Oedipus cannot let them goad. He demands the truth from Polybus and Merope. They deny everything, hold him close, tell him he is theirs. Their love is real, but doubt has taken root. Oedipus travels to Delphi, not to ask about the future, but to ask about the past. Who am I? The simplest question, the most dangerous. The oracle does not answer his question. Instead, she gives him a prophecy he never asked for, and it will chase him across the world. Corinth gleams white against the sea, a city of trade, of wine, of easy laughter. This is where Oedipus believes his story begins. He is wrong. He grows up quick-minded and restless, solves problems before his tutors finish stating them, beats older boys in wrestling, reads the stars for pleasure. Polybus beams with pride. His son, brilliant, fearless, beloved by the people. Merope watches with a mother's love and a secret she swore never to speak. The years in Corinth taste like honey. Oedipus knows no hunger, no war, no doubt. The doubt comes later at a table full of wine. A guest, drunk, careless, cruel, leans across the table, calls Oedipus a foundling, a bastard grafted onto a royal tree. The hall goes quiet. Oedipus says nothing. He grips his wine cup until his knuckles whiten. The feast continues around him, but the taste of everything has changed. That night he cannot sleep. The word bastard circles his mind like a vulture. He stares at the ceiling and counts every time Polybus hesitated before calling him son. He confronts his parents at dawn. They hold him, they weep. They tell him he is their son. Their love is unmistakable, but they do not quite meet his eyes. Love is not the same as truth. Oedipus decides that if his parents will not answer, the gods will. He packs a traveler's bag before the household wakes. The road to Delphi winds through mountains sacred to Apollo. Pilgrims walk it in silence, carrying offerings. Oedipus carries only questions. Delphi sits on the edge of a cliff like a stone bird about to take flight. The air smells of laurel and sulfur. Even the wind here speaks in riddles. He waits 3 days for his turn. Around him kings and generals seek guidance about wars and harvests. Oedipus wants only one answer. Who is my father? The temple interior swallows daylight. Underground vapors rise through cracks in the earth. The Pythia sits on her bronze tripod above the chasm, swaying. Oedipus kneels before her and asks his question. The Pythia's eyes snap open. Her body stiffens. When she speaks, the voice is not her own. She does not tell him who his parents are. Instead, she tells him what he will do to them. You will kill your father. You will share your mother's bed. Horror drives him to his feet. He staggers from the temple into blinding sunlight. Pilgrims scatter from the wild-eyed young man stumbling down the sacred steps. One thought burns through the panic: I must never return to Corinth. If Polybus is my father, I must never see him again. Oedipus turns his back on home, forever. The cruel irony. Oedipus runs from the wrong parents. Every step away from Corinth carries him closer to the real father he has never met, and to the place where he will kill him. The road narrows to a single lane between high rocks, a place where two travelers cannot pass without one giving way. The crossroads of Phocis. A chariot comes fast from the opposite direction. Horses foaming, wheels screaming on rock. An old man in royal garments shouts for Oedipus to clear the road. Neither gives way. The old man's driver shoves Oedipus aside. The old man himself strikes Oedipus on the head with a bronze-tipped staff. Something in the young man breaks. Oedipus strikes back. His staff catches the old man across the face. The old man falls from the chariot into the dust. And Oedipus does not stop. He kills the driver. He kills the guards. He kills them all, except one servant who flees into the hills. 5 men dead at a crossroads over the right-of-way. Oedipus stands in the silence afterward. Blood on his hands. Bodies at his feet. He does not know who these men were. He will not learn for 20 years. He walks on. What else is there to do? A young man alone on a road, running from one prophecy, having just fulfilled half of it in the dust. Thebes appears on the horizon. A great city strangled by terror. Not plague, not yet. Something worse waits at the gates. Something with wings and a woman's voice. The Sphinx perches on a crag outside the city. Lion's body, eagle's wings, a woman's face twisted with cruel intelligence. She asks every traveler a riddle. No one answers correctly. Those who fail, she devours. Thebes has lost soldiers, scholars, princes, all swallowed by the riddle. The city's bravest are bones on a hillside. No one dares approach anymore. Oedipus hears the stories at a roadside inn. Travelers speak of Thebes in hushed voices. The monster, the riddle, the reward, the dead king's throne and his widowed queen. A dead king's throne. The thought should disturb him. He has just killed a stranger on the road. But Oedipus is young, and the young believe they can fix anything. Dawn finds Oedipus walking toward the Sphinx's crag. Theban guards at the gate call after him. Turn back. She will kill you. He does not turn. The Sphinx watches him approach. Her golden eyes narrow. Another one, she purrs. Her tail flicks stone dust from the ledge. She is already savoring the kill. She speaks. What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? Her voice echoes off the cliff face like a funeral bell. Silence. The bones of smarter men crunch beneath Oedipus's sandals. He looks at the Sphinx without flinching. And then he answers. The answer is man, who crawls as a baby, walks upright in his prime, and leans on a cane when old. Oedipus, the man with scarred feet, knows the answer in his bones. The Sphinx screams, a sound that shakes the mountain. Her body convulses. She hurls herself from the cliff, wings folded, and shatters on the rocks below. Thebes erupts. The gates fly open. People pour out screaming with joy, weeping, reaching for the stranger who freed them. Oedipus is lifted onto their shoulders. They call him Savior, Liberator, the greatest mind in Greece. He killed a monster with nothing but a word. The dead king's throne is offered before sunset, and with the throne comes the queen, Jocasta. Beautiful, grieving, relieved. She sees a young hero. He sees a wise and graceful woman. Neither sees the truth. Jocasta has buried a husband. She has buried a child, or so she believes. Now fate offers her a second chance at both. She accepts with an open heart. The wedding fills Thebes with music. A city reborn celebrates its new king and queen. The gods watch in silence. Even they have no words for what comes next. The Greeks who first told this story sat in amphitheaters carved from hillsides. 15,000 at once. They already knew how it ended. That was the point. Knowing the ending did not diminish the horror. It multiplied it. Every moment of Oedipus's happiness became unbearable because the audience could see the trap closing. Fate, to the ancient Greeks, was not punishment. It was physics, as certain as gravity. The question was never whether you could escape it, but how you faced it. They lived in a world of earthquakes, shipwrecks, sudden plagues. Control was an illusion. What mattered was dignity, how you stood when the wave hit. Oedipus was their greatest hero not because he won, but because he kept searching for truth when every instinct screamed at him to stop. The Greeks honored that above all. Oedipus rules Thebes well. Years pass. 4 children are born, 2 sons, 2 daughters. The kingdom prospers under his careful, brilliant hand. Jocasta laughs more now. The silver in her hair suits her. She watches Oedipus govern with the same intensity he brought to the Sphinx's riddle, and she loves him for it. Oedipus never speaks of the crossroads. The memory surfaces sometimes. Dusty road, old man's face, the crack of staff on bone. He pushes it down and governs harder. 15 years of peace. 15 years of children growing, harvests ripening, allies respecting Theban's strength. Enough time to believe the gods have forgotten you. Then the plague comes. Not a slow sickness, a hammer blow. It hits in midsummer, when the wells are low and the air is thick with heat. Children die first, then the elderly, then the strong. Funeral pyres burn day and night until the smoke hangs over Thebes like a second sky. Crops blacken in the fields. Cattle abort their calves. The wells taste of copper. Thebes is being punished, the priests say. But for what? By whom? The people come to the palace steps. Hundreds, then thousands. Carrying olive branches, the ancient gesture of supplication. They kneel before their king and beg. Oedipus appears on the steps. He has not slept in days. His eyes are hollow, but his voice carries across the crowd like a general's. I share your suffering, he tells them. Your pain wakes me and will not let me rest. I have already sent Creon to Delphi to ask Apollo what we must do. Creon returns that same day dusty from the road. His face carries news, but whether good or terrible, Oedipus cannot yet tell. Apollo speaks clearly. Creon reports. The plague is punishment. The killer of King Laius lives unpunished in Thebes. Find him, drive him out. Only then will the city heal. Oedipus makes a public vow. I will find this killer as if he were my own father's murderer. The irony is perfect. The irony is devastating. He curses the killer before the city. May he wander homeless. May no one shelter him or speak to him. May his life be suffering until his last breath. Every word of that curse will land on him. Every punishment he promises the unknown killer, he promises himself. But that knowledge is still buried, deep as a child in a mountain grave. The investigation begins at once. Oedipus orders every witness found, every record searched. He will solve this murder the way he solved the riddle, by refusing to stop thinking. Someone suggests calling the blind prophet Tiresias. He knows everything, they say. He speaks for Apollo himself. If anyone knows the killer's name, it is Tiresias. Tiresias arrives reluctantly. He is ancient, older than memory, blind eyes like milk. A boy guides him by the hand. He already knows why he has been summoned. He wishes he did not. Oedipus asks him directly, who killed Laius? Tiresias says nothing. His blind face turns away. Send me home, he whispers. This knowledge will help no one. Oedipus demands. Threatens, accuses Tiresias of treason. The prophet's silence becomes the king's rage. A blind man and a sighted man, and neither can see the other clearly. Finally Tiresias breaks. You want the truth. You are the killer. You are the pollution of this city. The man you hunt is you. Oedipus laughs. A high, sharp laugh without joy. He calls the prophet a fraud, a conspirator. Creon must have sent you to steal my throne with lies. Tiresias speaks the rest. You do not know who your parents are. You do not know what you have done in your own bed. You are blind, Oedipus. I am the one who sees. The prophet is led away. Oedipus stands alone in the throne room. The accusations echo off marble walls. Madness, he tells himself. Treason, lies. But his hands are shaking. He turns his fury on Creon, bursts into his chambers accusing him of plotting with the prophet. Creon, bewildered, loyal, innocent, can barely form a defense. Jocasta appears. She walks between the two men like a flame between wolves. Her calm voice stops Oedipus mid-sentence. What is happening here? She listens to both sides. Then she dismisses Creon gently and turns to Oedipus. Prophets, she says, know nothing. Let me tell you a story about prophecy's failure. Laius was told his son would kill him, she explains. So he had the baby destroyed. But Laius died at a crossroads, killed by strangers. The prophecy failed. You see, the gods lie. Crossroads, the word hits Oedipus like cold water. Where, he asks. His voice is suddenly very quiet. Where was Laius killed? Jocasta describes the place. Oedipus knows it. How many men were with Laius? 5, she says. 1 survived. Oedipus is counting the bodies in his memory. 5. He killed 5 men at a crossroads. The room tilts. Send for that surviving servant, Oedipus commands. His voice holds steady by will alone. If the servant says it was robbers, many men, then I am safe. But if he says 1 man, night settles over Thebes like a held breath. Oedipus stands at his chamber window, counting funeral pyres in the dark. Each flame is a citizen he failed to save. Jocasta sleeps behind him. Her breath is steady. She still believes prophecies are lies. That comfort is a locked room Oedipus can no longer enter. The crossroads. He returns to it in his mind again and again. An old man in a chariot, 5 attendants. A bronze-tipped staff swung at his head, his own rage answering. 1 detail could save him. Jocasta said Laius was killed by robbers, many men. If the surviving servant confirms this, then Oedipus killed a different old man, a stranger, not a king. Dawn comes without answers. The servant who survived, the one witness, has been sent for. He is a shepherd now, living on the far slopes of Citharon. It will take days. Oedipus fills the waiting with investigation. Every record of Laius's reign is pulled from the archives. Every servant who worked in the old palace is questioned. He learns that Laius traveled to Delphi before his death. The king went to ask about an old prophecy, one involving a son. The details are vague. No one alive remembers clearly. Jocasta watches her husband unravel. She brings him food he does not eat. She touches his arm and feels the tremor beneath the skin. Something is wrong beyond the plague. Tell me, she says gently. Whatever the prophet said, tell me what frightens you. Oedipus looks at her and for the first time considers the impossible. He tells her about the crossroads. Not the killing. She already knows a stranger died there. He tells her the location matches. The number of men matches, the timing matches. Jocasta's face does not change. She has survived worse than suspicion. She survived losing a child. She tells him wait for the shepherd. 1 witness can clear everything. The days crawl. Plague worsens, more pyres, more prayers. Oedipus governs on instinct while his mind circles the crossroads like a dog chained to a post. He examines his own ankles at night when Jocasta is not looking. The scars are old, smooth, barely noticeable. He has had them since birth, or so he was told. He touches them now and wonders. His name, Oedipus. He has carried the first clue his entire life, written on his body in scar tissue, and never once thought to read it. Morning finds him haggard but resolved. He summons Creon. Their quarrel is forgotten. There is no room for pride when the ground beneath you is dissolving. Tell me everything you know about Laius's death, Oedipus says. Not what the oracle told you. What the people say. The rumors. The stories servants whisper. Creon mentions something new. The survivor, when he returned to Thebes and saw Oedipus crowned, immediately asked to be sent away. To the farthest pastures. He never wanted to see the new king's face. The trap tightens. Every fact Oedipus uncovers points in one direction. He can feel the answer forming in the dark of his mind, like a shape, in deep water rising toward the surface. Jocasta prays. She who dismissed the gods now stands before Apollo's altar with offerings of incense and laurel. Fear has made a believer of the skeptic. She prays for the shepherd to lie. She prays for the truth to be anything other than what she has begun to suspect. She prays the way a mother prays, for her children's world not to end. A stranger arrives at the palace gate. Not the shepherd, not yet. A messenger from Corinth travels stained and eager. He carries news he believes will bring joy. King Polybus is dead, the messenger announces. Natural death, old age. The throne of Corinth awaits Oedipus. He says this with pride, expecting gratitude. Relief floods through Oedipus so powerfully his knees nearly buckle. Polybus is dead, of natural causes. The prophecy was wrong. He did not kill his father, the oracle lied. Jocasta seizes the moment. You see, she says, prophecy is smoke. Your father died in his bed. No son's hand touched him. We are free. But Oedipus cannot stop. Even in relief, the other half of the prophecy gnaws at him. His mother, Merope, still lives in Corinth. As long as she breathes, that danger remains. The Corinthian messenger sees the king's lingering worry. He laughs. Actually laughs. My lord, put your fears away. I can solve that riddle too. Polybus was not your real father, the messenger says casually. Merope was not your mother. I know this because I am the one who gave you to them. You were a gift. The room goes cold. Where did you get me? Oedipus asks. His voice is the voice of a man standing on a ledge. The messenger answers with a smile. A shepherd gave you to me on Mount Cithaeron, the messenger explains. A Theban shepherd. He said you were from the royal house. He begged me to save you. Your ankles were pinned together, the messenger adds. Swollen, bleeding. I freed them myself. That is how you got your name, Oedipus, swollen foot. Jocasta has not moved. She stands behind the throne like a pillar of salt. Her face has drained of all color. She understood before Oedipus did. Mothers always know first. Oedipus, stop. Jocasta's voice cuts through the room like a blade. Do not ask any more questions. For the love of the gods, stop searching. She begs. On her knees before her husband and her son, before the man who is both, she begs him to leave the truth buried. Her hands clutch his robes like a drowning woman. Oedipus mistakes her fear for shame. She is afraid of his low birth, he decides. Afraid the king was a shepherd's son, not a prince. He smiles grimly. He is wrong about everything. Jocasta breaks away. She runs from the throne room without a word. The doors slam behind her. Oedipus watches her go and does not follow. The investigation is more important than his wife's pride. He does not know that was the last time he will see her alive. He does not know what she will do behind those doors. The future is a locked room, and Oedipus has chosen the wrong key. The Theban shepherd, Oedipus demands. The one who gave me to you on Cithaeron. Is he the same servant who survived when Laius was killed? The messenger shrugs, perhaps ask the Thebans. It is the same man. Oedipus knows it before anyone confirms it. The servant who witnessed Laius's murder is the same shepherd who carried baby Oedipus up the mountain. One man holds both secrets. Bring him faster, Oedipus orders. Riders go out. The investigation has become a race between truth and the last shreds of denial. The chorus of Theban elders gathers in the courtyard. They have watched everything. They begin to pray, not for answers, but for the answers to be gentle. Oedipus paces the throne room alone. He replays every conversation. Tiresias, Jocasta, Creon, the messenger. Each one a piece of a mosaic he is assembling against his will. He could stop. Even now, he could accept Jocasta's plea and seal the questions behind a wall of royal silence. No one would blame him. No one would know. But that is not who Oedipus is. The man who solved the Sphinx's riddle cannot leave a riddle unsolved. His greatest strength is his destruction. His mind will not let him rest. Darkness falls again. The second night of waiting. Somewhere on the road between Cithaeron and Thebes, an old shepherd is being brought to answer for a mercy he showed 40 years ago. The shepherd remembers everything. The baby's cry on the cold mountain, the blood from its ankles, the order from Laius let it die, and his own decision to disobey. He knows what his testimony will do. He has always known. When the new king was crowned, and he saw the scars on those ankles, he fled to the mountains and prayed to be forgotten. The gods have no mercy for secrets. Every lie, every kindness, every desperate act of protection, fate threads them all into the same rope, and the rope always tightens. Dawn breaks over Thebes for what will be the last normal morning. By sunset, this city will have a different king, a dead queen, and a truth that poisons everything it touches. The shepherd arrives at midday. He is brought through the gates trembling, an old man in rough wool, leaning on his crook. He looks nothing like the man who will end a dynasty, but he is. 3,000 years of audiences have held their breath at this moment. Sophocles wrote it knowing that every person watching had already heard the ending. The power was in the watching. The Greeks called it tragic irony, when the audience knows what the character does not. When every word of hope becomes a new wound, Oedipus is its perfection. Sophocles understood something essential about human beings. We do not look away from disaster. We lean closer, not from cruelty, but because we recognize ourselves in the falling. Every culture has a story about the truth you cannot escape. The Greeks made theirs into the greatest play ever written. They performed it as worship, an offering to the god of revelations. Imagine the storyteller at the fire 3,000 years ago, reaching this same moment. The shepherd stands before the king. The truth is one question away, and now as then we lean closer. The shepherd is brought before Oedipus. The Corinthian messenger points at once. That is him. That is the man who gave me the child on Cithaeron. The shepherd denies it. I do not know this man. I never gave him a child. His voice shakes. His eyes will not settle on anything. Every person in the room can see the lie. Oedipus stands. He descends from the throne step by step. His shadow falls over the old shepherd. Speak the truth, he says quietly, or I will make you speak it. The shepherd weeps. He falls to his knees. Do not make me say it, he begs. I saved your life once. Is this how you repay me? By forcing me to destroy it. The child was from the house of Laius, the shepherd whispers. They said it was Laius's own son. The queen, Jocasta, gave it to me. She told me to destroy it. Laius's son, given to the shepherd to be destroyed, saved instead, raised in Corinth, returned to Thebes, married the queen, fathered children with his own mother, killed his father at a crossroads. A sound tears from Oedipus that is not quite human. Part scream, part howl, part the noise a building makes when its foundation cracks. The throne room empties, everyone runs. He runs from the throne room. Through corridors he built his life in, past the rooms where his children sleep, toward the chambers he shared with his wife, his wife. The doors to Jocasta's chambers are barred from inside. Oedipus pounds on them, calls her name. The wood shudders but holds. Behind it silence. He breaks through, shoulder against the wood until it splinters. He stumbles into the room, and there is Jocasta, hanging from a twisted rope of her own bed linens. He cuts her down, his hands gentle now, the same hands that killed her first husband. He lays her on the bed where all of this was made. She is already gone. He sees the golden brooches on her dress, the long pins that held her robes at the shoulder. He pulls them free. He holds them up. He knows what he must do. These eyes, he says. These eyes that saw and did not see. That looked at a mother and saw a wife. That looked at a father and saw a stranger worth killing. Let them see nothing ever again. He drives the pins in. Again and again. Not once but many times. As if the darkness could not come fast enough. As if he could puncture through to some deeper, kinder blindness. The screaming brings the household. Servants. Guards. His children's nurses clutching the doorframe. They find their king blind and bloodied, kneeling beside their dead queen. He asks to be led outside, into the light he can no longer see. He wants the people of Thebes to look at their king one final time. The palace doors open. Sunlight pours in, warm, golden, ordinary. Oedipus feels it on his face for the first time without sight. It feels no different. That is the cruelest part. The people see him. A gasp moves through the crowd like wind through wheat. Their king, their brilliant, powerful king, stumbling down the palace steps with blood on his hands and darkness in his eyes. He speaks to them, not as a king, as a man stripped of every title. I am the pollution. I am Laius's killer. I am my mother's husband. Drive me from this city. No one speaks, no one moves to obey. They cannot reconcile the man who saved them from the Sphinx with the man confessing to patricide and incest. Both are true. Both exist in the same body. Creon approaches. Gently. The man Oedipus accused of treason now takes his arm with the care of a brother. Power passes between them in a touch. Oedipus has one request. His daughters. Let me touch them before I go. Let me feel their faces one more time with the only sense I have left. Antigone and Ismene are brought forward. They are too young to understand. They see their father's face and scream. Then they run to him anyway. Children do not care about prophecies. He kneels. Their small hands find his face. They trace the wounds with their fingers. Antigone does not flinch. She is already becoming who she will be, the child who never turns away. What life will they have now? Daughters of the cursed king. Sisters to their own father's children. The stain will follow them. Oedipus weeps for what he has done to the ones he loves most. Creon separates them gently. Oedipus lets go one finger at a time. The girls are led away. Their crying echoes through the palace long after they disappear inside. The curse he spoke falls on himself. Exile, wandering, no shelter, no welcome. The words he chose for the unknown killer now carve the shape of his own future. Creon delays the exile. Consult the oracle first, he says. Even kindness has procedure. Oedipus is taken inside, to a bare room, to wait for the gods to confirm what everyone already knows. Night falls on a changed Thebes. The plague will lift. The gods have their justice. But the price, the terrible, disproportionate price. In the bare room, Oedipus does not sleep. He cannot close eyes he no longer has. He sits and replays every choice, every moment where the path could have turned. If the shepherd had obeyed, if the drunk had not spoken, if he had never gone to Delphi, if he had stepped aside at the crossroads. If, every if leads nowhere. He arrives at the one truth the Greeks always arrive at. It was not the choices that doomed him. It was the choosing. The refusal to live in ignorance. The insistence on knowing. Tiresias was right, the blind man saw. The sighted king was lost in darkness. Now Oedipus has joined the prophet in the deeper sight. The one that costs everything. The third dawn since the messenger arrived. Oedipus asks to be taken to the city gates. The exile begins, but not in shame alone. Something else walks with him now. At the gates Antigone waits. She has packed a bag. She will not be left behind. She takes her father's hand and does not let go. She will guide him from this day forward. The gates open. The road stretches forward into a world Oedipus cannot see. Behind him, a city he saved and cursed. Ahead, the unknown. He takes the first step. Two figures on a road. A blind father and his daughter. The king of Thebes reduced to a wanderer, leaning on a child's shoulder. The prophecy is fulfilled, every word of it. He killed his father. He married his mother. He destroyed his own eyes. Every action he took to escape the oracle drove him deeper into its arms. The riddle was always about him. The people of Thebes watch from the walls until the two figures vanish into the heat shimmer. Some weep. Some pray. None forget. This story will be told for 3,000 years, and counting. But this is not the end, not truly. The road ahead holds one more chapter, the one the Greeks loved best. The chapter where the cursed man finds at last something the gods cannot take away. That story waits for us. But first, rest with the wanderers. The road is long and the night is kind. Even cursed men sleep, and in sleep, the prophecy loosens its grip. The road has no mercy for blind men. Stones trip him. Branches catch his face. Without Antigone's steady hand, Oedipus would have fallen 100 times in the first day alone. They walk south, then east, then nowhere in particular. Every village they approach, someone recognizes the blind king of Thebes. The doors close before they can knock. His own curse pursues him. May no one shelter him or speak to him. The words Oedipus spoke on the palace steps now define his world. A king imprisoned by his own judgment. Antigone learns to beg. A princess of Thebes, standing at crossroads with her palm out, asking strangers for bread. She does not complain. She saves her grief for the moments her father sleeps. Seasons change on the road. Summer heat blisters. Autumn rains soak them through. Winter finds them sheltering in caves, where shepherds leave offerings of cheese and blankets. Gifts from pity, not welcome. Oedipus ages rapidly. His dark hair goes gray, then white. His body thins. But his mind, the mind that solved the riddle, that remains sharp, turning inward, carving new paths in the dark. He begins to speak differently. The arrogance is gone, burned away like morning mist. In its place, something quieter. The voice of a man who has swallowed every illusion and survived. Word reaches them on the road. Thebes is tearing itself apart. His sons, Oedicles and Polynices, fight over the throne. The curse on the house of Oedipus spreads to the next generation. Neither son sent help. Neither son searched for their father. Oedipus notes this quietly. The bitterness of abandoned parents is ancient. Older even than the gods. Polynices will come eventually. Not with help, with a request. He will want his father's blessing for his war against his brother. Even exiled and blind, Oedipus has power. The power of prophecy clings to the cursed. Years pass on the road. How many? Oedipus has lost count. Time moves differently for the blind, measured in temperatures, in birdsong, in the changing grip of his daughter's growing hand. Antigone has grown into a woman on this road. She has never known a home, never worn clean linen, never danced at a festival. She gave her youth to her father's exile. She does not regret it. Something is changing in Oedipus. The rage has burned to embers. In its place grows a strange peace, not forgiveness of the gods, but acceptance of his own place in the pattern. He begins to understand what Tiresias knew. Blindness is not the opposite of sight. It is a different kind of seeing. The world he perceives now has textures the sighted miss entirely. One morning Antigone describes the landscape ahead, rolling hills, olive groves. A grove of ancient trees sacred to someone. She can see offerings hung from the branches. It feels holy. Where are we? Oedipus asks. Antigone asks a passing farmer. Colonus, he says, a village near Athens. The grove belongs to the Furies, the goddesses of vengeance. No mortal enters it. The Furies. Oedipus stops walking. His blind face turns toward the grove. He cannot see it, but he can feel it. A pull deep in his scarred body, like a compass finding north. This is the place, he says. His voice carries a certainty it has not held since the day he answered the Sphinx. This is where it ends. Take me into the grove. Antigone hesitates. The grove is forbidden. The Furies punish trespassers. But Oedipus walks forward with the certainty of a man keeping an appointment he did not know he had. The villagers of Colonus see this and panic. A blind beggar in the Furies' grove. They rush forward shouting, "Get out! You will bring their wrath on all of us. Leave now." "I will not leave," Oedipus says. "I am Oedipus." The name falls like a stone into water. The villagers step back. Even here, even now. His name carries the weight of myth. "Send for your king," Oedipus tells them. "Send for Theseus of Athens. Tell him Oedipus has come, and that his presence here is a gift, not a curse. The gods have promised it." While they wait, Oedipus sits on a stone in the grove. The air is different here. Cooler, sweeter. The trees seem to breathe around him. Even the wind has a voice, and it says rest. Antigone sits beside him. She has not seen her father this calm since before the plague. Something in this place has answered a question he never spoke aloud. Theseus arrives before sunset, king of Athens, hero of the labyrinth. He walks into the grove alone, unarmed, and kneels before the blind exile. Honor between men who have both faced monsters. Oedipus speaks plainly. "I bring you a gift, my body. Where I am buried, that land will be blessed by the gods, protected forever. Athens will never fall while my bones rest in its soil." Theseus accepts. He clasps the blind man's hands. "You are welcome here," he says. Athens will protect you. Your daughters will be cared for, this I swear. But the peace is interrupted. Dust on the road from the south, horses. Armor. Someone else has learned that Oedipus is here, and they want his blessing too, or they want him back. Creon comes from Thebes. Not as a brother this time, as a kidnapper. He wants Oedipus brought back. The prophecy has spread wherever Oedipus is buried, that city is blessed. Thebes wants its curse back. And behind Creon on the road, another figure, Polynices, Oedipus's son. Coming not with soldiers but with tears. He has his own war, his own need, his own claim on his father's power. The final acts converge. Creon wastes no time on pleasantries. Hand over Oedipus, he tells the villagers. He belongs to Thebes. His blessing belongs to Thebes. This is not a request. Oedipus hears Creon's voice from the grove and laughs, a dry, bitter sound. The same man who gently took his arm now sends soldiers. Power reveals what kindness conceals. Creon plays his first card. He has already taken Ismene, Oedipus's younger daughter, seized on the road before reaching Colonus, a hostage to force a father's compliance. Now Creon reaches for Antigone. His soldiers move into the grove, hands close on her arms. She screams, "Father!" And the sound tears through Oedipus like the prophecy once did. Thunder answers, not from the sky, from the road. Theseus and his Athenian guard come at a run, armor flashing. The king of Athens honoring his oath before the echo of the scream fades. Theseus confronts Creon face to face. "You violate my land. You seize suppliants under my protection. You dishonor Athens. Release the girls or face war." Creon yields. He has no choice. Athens is stronger. The soldiers release Antigone. Ismene is recovered from the road. Both daughters return to their father, and his blind hands find their faces like water finding the sea. Creon departs with a parting threat. "Thebes will remember this," he tells Theseus. "Athens has made an enemy today." The words hang in the air like smoke after a fire. Quiet returns to the grove. Birds resume singing. The sacred trees seem to exhale. But Oedipus does not relax. He senses another presence approaching, slower, grieving. Polynices enters the grove. He is thinner than Oedipus remembers his voice. War has hollowed him. He falls to his knees before his blind father and begins to weep. "Father," he says, "forgive me. I should have searched for you. I should have sent food, clothing, shelter. I chose a throne over you. I am ashamed." Polynices makes his plea. He has been exiled from Thebes by his brother Oedipus. He has raised an army, 7 champions against 7 gates. He wants his father's blessing for the assault. Antigone watches her brother plead. She loves him still. He is her brother, her blood. She touches Oedipus's arm. "Hear him, father. He is your son." Oedipus speaks. His voice is quiet. Worse than quiet, it is the voice of absolute judgment, stripped of everything except truth. He does not forgive. "You left me to beg in the road," Oedipus says. "You ate at my table and threw me into the dirt. You and your brother are cursed. By me, your father, with the last power I possess. You will kill each other," Oedipus prophesies. "Brother against brother at the gates of Thebes. Both will fall. The throne you fight over will drink your blood. This is my blessing." Polynices staggers to his feet. He knows his father speaks the truth. The same blood that saw through the Sphinx now sees through time. He turns to leave. His war will happen. His death will follow. Antigone runs after him. "Brother, do not go. Disband the army. Give up the throne live." She grabs his arm. He looks at her with love and removes her hand gently. Some paths cannot be left. He asks one thing. "When I fall, bury me. Do not let them leave my body for the dogs. Promise me, Antigone." She promises. She does not yet know what that promise will cost her. Polynices walks away. He does not look back. Antigone watches until he vanishes into the heat shimmer. She will never see him alive again. She returns to her father in silence. The grove settles again. Oedipus sits with his daughters. The confrontations are over. The curse is spoken. What remains now belongs to the gods alone. Theseus returns at dusk. He has posted guards. Athens will not be caught unprepared again. He finds Oedipus strangely calm, calmer than any man he has ever seen. Night gathers around the grove like a cloak. Stars appear through the canopy. Oedipus tilts his face upward. He cannot see them, but he feels their light, ancient, patient, unchanged since the world began. He tells his daughters about Thebes, not the plague or the palace. The way the light hit the columns at dawn. The sound of the fountain in the courtyard. The smell of bread from the kitchen. He tells them about their mother. Her laugh. The way she tilted her head when listening. The silver in her hair that caught the light. He speaks of Jocasta with love, not horror. Love was real. Love remains. The girls sleep eventually. Young bodies cannot resist rest forever, even in sacred groves. Oedipus sits awake between them, a guardian in the dark, listening to the trees breathe. Somewhere past midnight the air changes. The temperature drops. The insects go silent. Oedipus lifts his head. Something is different. Something is coming, not on the road. From the earth itself. A low rumble. Not thunder, deeper. The ground beneath the grove trembles. Stones shift. Tree roots groan. The daughters wake and cling to their father. The sacred earth is speaking. A voice from beneath the earth. Not words, more like the memory of words. Oedipus. It knows his name. The sound resonates in his chest. The Furies are calling, not in anger, in welcome. It is time, Oedipus says. Send for Theseus. Antigone runs. Oedipus stands alone in the trembling grove, and for the first time since the crossroads, he is not afraid of what comes next. Theseus arrives breathless. Oedipus takes his arm. Walk with me, he says. Only you, the daughters, must stay behind. What happens next is between the gods and one mortal man. The daughters weep. They clutch at him. Do not leave us. But Oedipus cups each face in his scarred hands and speaks the last words they will hear from him. You have been my eyes, he tells Antigone. You have been my comfort, he tells Ismene. Everything good I leave behind lives in you. Now let me go to what waits ahead. He turns, he walks into the deeper grove without his staff. Without guidance. For the first time since blinding himself, Oedipus walks alone, and he does not stumble. Theseus follows. He will later tell the Athenians that what he witnessed cannot be spoken. Some things belong to the gods and to silence. He swore an oath and kept it. The earth opens, not with violence, with gentleness, like a door held open by a patient hand. A warmth rises from below that smells of rain and honey, and something older than both. Oedipus stands at the edge. He does not hesitate. The man who ran from every truth now walks toward the final one with his arms open. The earth receives him like a mother. He is gone. The ground closes. The trembling stops. Silence returns to the grove, deeper than before. Where Oedipus stood, a single white flower grows from the bare earth. Theseus stands alone. He will never tell anyone exactly what he saw. He walks back through the grove to where the daughters wait. His face tells them everything. Their father is gone, and he is at peace. Sophocles wrote Oedipus at Colonus as an old man. His last play, performed after his death, he gave Oedipus the ending he himself was approaching, a transformation, not a termination. The story survived because people could not stop telling it. First spoken around fires, then written on scrolls, then performed for thousands. Each generation found new meaning in the same old bones. The Romans staged it in massive theaters. Medieval monks copied it by candlelight, not always understanding why they were compelled to preserve a pagan tragedy. The story demanded to survive. Every retelling changed something. Details shifted, emphasis moved, characters grew or shrank. But the core, a man who cannot stop searching for truth, that never changed. That is the part that is human. The storyteller at the fire, 3,000 years ago, reaches the same moment we just reached. Oedipus vanishes into the earth. The listeners exhale. The fire pops, the stars continue. Morning comes to Colonus. The daughters have not slept. They sit by the white flower in the grove. Watching the dawn color the sky and shades their father will never argue with again. Theseus keeps his promise. The daughters are given shelter in Athens. Safety. A home for the first time in years. The debt a city owes to a cursed man, paid through kindness to his children. But Antigone cannot rest long. News from Thebes arrives with every traveler. The war has begun. Polynices and his 7 champions march against his brother. Their father's curse is unfolding. The battle rages for days. The champions fall one by one at each gate. Thebes holds, barely. But the prophecy cares nothing for strategy. It cares only for the brothers. They meet at the 7th gate. Polynices and Oedipus, brother and brother, mirror images in bronze armor, carrying the same rage, the same blood, the same curse. They fight without words. Sword against sword. Shield against shield. Each knows the other's training. They learned from the same arms master, in the same palace courtyard a lifetime ago. Both blades find flesh at the same moment. Polynices falls first, then Oedipus. They lie in the dust before the gate, reaching for each other or reaching for the throne. No one can tell. Oedipus's curse is complete. Both sons dead. The throne empty. The house that began with a prophecy ends with one. Blood answers blood across 3 generations. Creon takes the Theban throne again. His first decree Oedipus will be buried with honors. Polynices will be left to rot, a traitor's body for the dogs and birds. No burial, no rites. The news reaches Athens. Antigone hears it and stands. She does not weep this time. She packed her bag before the messenger finished speaking. She made a promise to her brother. Ismene begs her not to go. Creon will kill you. The law forbids burial. You will die for a handful of dust on a dead man's face. Antigone kisses her sister and walks out the door. She buries Polynices by moonlight. A thin layer of dust, enough to satisfy the gods if not the law. Her hands move over his cold face. I promised. She whispers. The guards find her at dawn. Creon sentences her to death. Sealed alive in a tomb. Antigone walks to her prison with the same steady step her father used walking into the grove. The blood of Oedipus does not falter. The house of Oedipus ends as it began, with a death ordered by a frightened king and a courage that the order cannot contain. The blood runs true, but tonight we rest before that ending. The stone is cold, but the story is warm. Oedipus found peace in a sacred grove. His daughter found purpose in a handful of dust. Both chose truth over safety. The wind has softened. Can you feel it? The story carries us now. No effort needed. Just breath and listening and the slow unwinding of an ancient thread. Oedipus walked through every darkness a human can face. Loss, shame, exile, the betrayal of his own body and blood. And at the end of it all, the earth held its arms open. That is the part the Greeks loved most. Not the horror, the redemption. The idea that suffering, fully faced, transforms the sufferer into something the gods themselves respect. Sleep works the same alchemy. You carry the day's weight into the dark, and somewhere in the unknown hours, it transforms. Morning finds you lighter. The ancients knew this too. Hypnos, the god of sleep, was twin brother to Thanatos, the god of death. The Greeks placed them side by side not from fear, but from understanding. Both are surrenders, both bring change. Let the story settle now. Like sediment in a river, the details can drift to the bottom. What remains on the surface is feeling. The warm, tired, human feeling of having traveled far. Oedipus asked one question his entire life: who am I? The answer destroyed him. Then it remade him. The question is the same one we all carry. Most of us are just luckier with the answer. Your breath has slowed. That is good. The body knows before the mind that safety has arrived. Let it lead. The mind can rest now. The story is almost home. In the sacred grove at Colonus, the white flower still grows. It blooms in spring and closes in winter. The people of Athens tend it without knowing why. Some things just feel right. The trees in that grove are older than memory. Their roots reach down to wherever Oedipus rests. Perhaps they draw something from him. The same stubborn refusal to stop growing, even in the dark. Antigone's story continues beyond tonight. Her courage, her defiance, her love. She buried her brother and paid with her life. But that is a tale for another night. Tonight we honor the father. The night deepens around us the way it deepened around that grove. The same stars, the same darkness, the same ancient comfort of stories told in the dark. 3,000 years of telling this story. 3,000 years of listeners falling asleep to the rhythm of Oedipus's journey. You join a very ancient company tonight. The Sphinx's riddle echoes softly. What walks on 4 legs, 2 legs, 3 legs? The answer is man. The answer is you. The answer is all of us, moving through our mornings, noons, and evenings. You are in the 2-legged part of the story. The walking part. The part where the road stretches forward and the day's work deserves its rest. Let the walking pause. The olive trees along the Greek roads have seen every traveler who ever lived. Their silver leaves whisper the same thing to each one. You have come far enough for today. Rest. Oedipus found rest after a lifetime of running. The earth took him in. The grove grew greener. The city was blessed. Even the most troubled journey ends in stillness. The fire is low now. The storyteller's voice is just a murmur. The words come slower, like footsteps on a long road nearing home. Each sentence a little softer than the last. What remains of the story lives in you now. Not the facts. Those will scatter like leaves. But the feeling. The strange comfort of a man who lost everything and found, at the very end, a home. Sleep is its own sacred grove. You enter it alone. You leave lighter. Between one breath and the next, something changes that you cannot name. The ancients called it mercy. Freud named a complex after Oedipus. That is the part most people know, and the part that matters least. The story's real legacy is the question it will not let us avoid. Every detective story descends from Oedipus. The investigator who discovers they are the criminal. The seeker whose search leads back to themselves. The pattern is everywhere once you see it. Aristotle studied this play and wrote the rules of tragedy from it. He said the best stories inspire pity and fear. Pity for the character. Fear that we are no different. Modern films still tell Oedipus's story in disguise. Every character who discovers a terrible family secret. Every hero whose strength becomes their undoing. The pattern is 3,000 years old and counting. But tonight the pattern rests. The analysis can wait for daylight. In the dark, stories are not patterns. They are companions. And this one has walked beside you long enough to be a friend. The road from Thebes to Colonus is quiet now. No chariots, no armies. Just wind and moonlight, and the distant sound of the sea reminding us that all roads eventually reach water. The sacred grove breathes slowly in the dark. Its ancient trees have held this story for millennia. They will hold yours too. Every thought you release before sleep, the grove takes and keeps. Oedipus asked, "Who am I?" The grove answered, "You are welcome here." Sometimes that is enough. Sometimes the answer to every question is simply you belong, you are safe. The stars above Colonus are the same stars above you now. Different season, different millennium, same light. The same photons that watched Oedipus rest now watch over your breathing. Let the last of the story's energy dissolve. The names can go: Oedipus, Jocasta, Antigone, Tiresias. Let them return to the myth they came from. You have heard them. That is enough. What stays is warmth. The warmth of a fire shared with others. The warmth of a voice in the dark that does not ask anything of you, only offers. Take what you need, leave the rest. The wind through the olive trees sounds like breathing. Long, slow, steady. Match yours to it if you like. Breathe with the trees. Breathe with the grove. Breathe with 3,000 years of sleepers. The white flower in the grove closes its petals at night. Gently, without effort. The way your eyes are closing now, or will, when the time is right. No rush, the flower waits for morning. Somewhere in Athens, Ismene sleeps peacefully for the first time in years. Somewhere on the road, Theseus rides home under stars. The world continues while you rest. The Aegean holds the moonlight like a mirror. The same sea that carried Odysseus and Jason and 1,000 nameless sailors. It holds all their stories in its depths. And now it holds yours. One last breath of story. One last image. A blind man in a sacred grove, arms open, the earth opening beneath him like a gentle hand. Not an ending, a homecoming. The earth closes over Oedipus with the tenderness of a blanket drawn over a sleeping child. The grove hums. The stars blaze. And in this moment, for the first time in his life, the cursed man is free. This is what the Greeks understood about suffering. It is not meaningless. But its meaning comes only at the end, and only to those who do not look away. Oedipus became sacred not despite his suffering but through it. The wound became the blessing. The curse became the gift. Athens was protected by the very thing Thebes threw away. That is the gift of this story. Not a lesson, a companion. A 3,000-year-old friend who walked the worst road and found, at its end, exactly what was promised: rest. Rest now, traveler. The grove is quiet, the story is told. The ancient gods keep watch while you sleep. The same watch they kept over a blind king, who finally came home. The story of Oedipus turns on a single question that every human being eventually faces: can you choose your own path? Or was the path chosen before you were born? Oedipus chose freely at every turn. He chose to leave Corinth. He chose to fight at the crossroads. He chose to solve the riddle. He chose to investigate. Every free choice fulfilled the prophecy. The Greeks did not see this as cruel. They saw it as honest. The universe has patterns. Rivers flow downhill. Stars follow courses. Human lives, despite our beautiful, stubborn belief in freedom, follow patterns too. But here is the part that matters for tonight: the pattern is not the punishment. Oedipus was not punished for his sins. He committed them unknowingly. He was tested by his response to the truth. Sight and blindness run through this story like threads in a tapestry. Oedipus sees everything and understands nothing. Tiresias sees nothing and understands everything. The truth reverses every eye. When Oedipus blinds himself, it is not madness. It is logic. The eyes that failed him, that saw a wife instead of a mother, a stranger instead of a father, those eyes deserve darkness. And yet, in blindness, Oedipus finally sees. The wandering years strip away every illusion until only the essential remains. He arrives at Colonus not broken but refined, like gold in a furnace. Knowledge is the myth's sharpest edge. Oedipus's quest for knowledge saves Thebes from the Sphinx. The same quest destroys his family. The gift and the weapon are the same thing. This is why the story endures. Not because it is about a Greek king 3,000 years dead. Because it is about every moment you chose to look when looking away would have been easier. The crossroads is a symbol older than Greece. The place where paths meet, where choices are made, where your direction changes. Every life has a crossroads. Most of us survive ours. The Sphinx asked what walks on 4 legs, 2 legs, 3 legs. But the deeper riddle was always, what are you willing to sacrifice for the answer? Oedipus gave everything the Sphinx knew he would. Jocasta understood something Oedipus could not. Some truths are not worth knowing. Stop searching, she begged. Leave it buried. Her wisdom was the wisdom of survival, and it was not enough. But Oedipus could no more stop searching than a river could flow uphill. His nature was his fate. The mind that solved the riddle was the mind that could not leave a question unanswered. The myth asks us, would you want to know? If the oracle told you the shape of your life, every joy, every loss, every ending, would you listen, or would you walk away? There is no right answer. Oedipus chose to know and was destroyed. Jocasta chose not to know and was destroyed. The myth is honest enough to admit that some questions have no safe answers. What the myth does offer is dignity. Oedipus loses everything and gains himself. The blind exile is more fully human than the sighted king ever was. Suffering fully faced becomes a kind of crown. And that is perhaps why this story helps us sleep. Not because it is comfortable, but because it is true. The body rests better when the mind has been given truth, even difficult truth. The Greeks told these stories at festivals of the gods. They went as communities, all of Athens watching together. Tragedy was not private entertainment, it was shared reckoning. You are part of that community now. Every person who has ever heard this story and felt something stir. The recognition that Oedipus's road is not so different from your own. Let that feeling rest now, like the white flower closing in the grove. The meaning will still be there in the morning, deeper for having been slept on. The best understanding comes after rest. Sophocles won first prize at the festival of Dionysus with this story. 500 years later, it is still the most performed Greek tragedy on earth. Some stories refuse to grow old. The Theban plays gave the world its first tragic hero. A good person destroyed not by evil, but by the collision between their best qualities and an indifferent universe. Antigone became the world's first conscientious objector. A young woman who placed divine law above human law and paid with her life. Every act of principled defiance since carries her echo. The phrase, Oedipus complex, reduced the myth to a clinical diagnosis. But the story is so much larger than any single reading. It contains multitudes, the way all great stories do. Every culture that encountered this story made it their own. Roman Seneca made it bloodier. French Cocteau made it dreamlike. Each retelling proves the same thing. The core is universal. The crossroads became a symbol in every Western language. A decision point. A place of no return. When someone says they are at a crossroads, Oedipus is standing behind the metaphor. Philosophers have argued about Oedipus for 25 centuries. Is he guilty? Is he innocent? Is guilt even the right framework? The myth is generous enough to sustain every interpretation without breaking. But the truest legacy is the simplest. A parent holding a child holding a parent, Antigone guiding Oedipus down the road. That image needs no interpretation. It speaks for itself. 3,000 years, hundreds of versions, millions of listeners. And the story still does what it was always meant to do. Make you feel something true about being human. Then let you rest. The legacy of Oedipus is not a lesson or a warning. It is a companion. A voice in the dark that says, I too have suffered. I too have searched, and at the end, I found rest. So will you. The story is told. The grove is quiet. All that remains now is the sound of the night, wind through ancient leaves, distant water, the slow pulse of a world at rest. Good night, traveler. You have walked far tonight, from Corinth to the crossroads, through Thebes, across the years of exile, to a sacred grove where even the cursed find peace. The gods of sleep are gentle tonight. Let them carry you the rest of the way. Rest now.